What is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf. Tonight, we have one doozy of a doozy for you. So we'll be right back right after this. All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. I am Adam, and I'm going to be your host today. We are going to be talking about some things that are absolutely insane. There is really one subject I really want you to focus on. I'll talk to you about that here with Dex. But this is a big alert. And the reason why is because I hope that everyone takes this very seriously, and I hope that this comes across the right way. It is very complicated what we have to talk about. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. There are reasons for why we have to do the things we do. Of course, you can, go out ablazing and basically say, yeah, F you, and then you're gone. Or you can continue to get information out. You continue to do your thing. So if you guys have followed me for a long time, we have called several things over the years, and that is with the help of multiple military and other sources that that have followed me. I don't know why people follow me. I don't know why people have joined me through the years. I do know that, people like listening to the show. Maybe it's the callers, maybe it's this, whatever grabbed their attention. We've gotten quite a following now. In fact, there's not too many shows like mine that, of course, this one's almost 150,000. Of course, our other channel is almost 150, or one of them is 160,000. I don't even know which one we're on tonight. Either way, this is huge. This is bigger than us. This is bigger than Marfoogle. This is bigger than really any of us, and that's why we're going to do it very carefully. To get to the point, which again, first off, just want to let you guys know, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that out of the way, remember that you need to get our notifications. I heard somebody in the chat saying he's always late. We're not late if you go by our notifications. In fact, you can follow the YouTube as a general guideline. Once that pops up, it's going to be within 10 to 15 minutes usually. Again, we have a lot of things going all at once. This isn't your average live show. We have a website that you can actually go and see every single thing that we are actually going to be covering here today. Now, again, there's actually articles on here. Really one that you need to point out. Did Apple deliver 14 coffee nails to Facebook? Dex and I, of course, Dex wrote this. I came up with a lot of the stuff to give him there. He did a really good job on this, again, talking about how Apple is going to start telling you when Facebook is monitoring you or trying to grab your personal identification number, which basically is the really creepy advertising. That's a big deal. And again, people are saying it might be the end of Facebook as we know it. But besides that, tonight we're talking about yesterday's events. But there are already the obvious telltale signs of people just vanishing off of platforms now, because whatever you can't talk about is the thing that you should be paying attention to. That's my opinion, at least. First off, go to the website. Everything we know is right here. It says everything we know that we can say. And there's reasons behind this. There's a lot of stuff that is here. And first off, I want to let you guys know, if you do have connections in high places, or if you do have backing, we need more back. We need more back than what we have, because certain things we talk about, if we say something, there should be ultimate freedom of press. You should not, be punished for coming out with something, but that's not the case anymore. Again, that is something that we've seen time and time again. I do think that they need to change things as far as a certain law that protects these things. But I think it at least needs reform. So we're going to be talking about this stuff. So you can follow along. There's only 2 articles here that we're going to cover. First one, downtown explosion knocks communications offline. Now, if you were under a rock yesterday, or if you were, say, not watching the news because you were enjoying it with your family, there was some pretty serious things that went down. Specifically, an RV that had a countdown timer of 15 minutes, I believe, basically at 1:22 a.m. started going, and it started saying, hey, if you're in this area, leave, evacuate, because it was about to go boom, boom. Which again, that RV, for one, the one thing I do know is that it did have a verbal alarm, and it was saying that, and it was telling people to get the heck out of there. Which one is the weirdest part about this entire thing? It's basically saying, we wanted to do some damage, but not damage to anybody, right? Not to any body, right? So that comes into the story later in the contradictions that are kind of, pointing who did this, why did they do this. And I'm sure we'll figure out who did this, and I'm sure they'll raid an apartment or two, say they got them for sure. They'll have smoking bang bang evidence that, it's somebody, and it will even probably have some sort of note or letter explaining why. Just guessing. Again, I'm sure they've already done parts of that. I've saw something about raiding an apartment, or they may have them. Put that all aside. One thing I want to also note is right now as we speak, earlier tonight, Indiana was having an event, I believe in a mall. There was also Rashford or Frankfurt. Again, this is where I'm going to bring in Dex. Dex helps me because when I'm running all this stuff, it's a lot harder to remember all of the stuff. But Dex specifically has been talking to a specific source that has been vetted, and we have some things that are coming out that are quite contrary to what's going on. But just to make clear, again, this is something that I really wish we had. I really wish we had a legal team. I wish we had a bigger setup here. I really wish had been expanded. I wish we weren't held back by our score. So Dex, let's do a sound check first off. Dex is my co-host and my internet brother. What's going on, Dex?
Hey, Adam. Yeah, this is probably the most significant news in the last little bit, and it's unfortunate that I don't know that we're going to be able to get everything that we actually have out right now.
Here's the thing. This is, I guess. This is I guess ginormous is the word to put it. And normally we don't play it by ear, but we are also kind of trying to reach out too, because this system, the place that we are in right now in 2020, no matter where you are in the world, is not set up for what we need to be doing. It's really hard to communicate when you can just be, you can just disappear, both physically and online. Again, a recreational vehicle in the deserted streets of downtown exploded early Christmas morning, causing widespread communications outages that took down police emergency systems and grounded holiday travel. So again, there was no planes up above for a time period because the FAA had communications problems. Not only that, it's all over Twitter. People in this city, of course, lost cell phone service. There was all sorts of weird coincidences and consequences, I should say, after this. And it wasn't just where this happened. It was all over the place because of the place that was actually hit. That place is one of 8 across the country, which is a hub, which some call a spy hub. It is, if you're in Seattle, we actually have one here. It is a creepy building. In fact, the first one I saw, the one here, I go, what the hell is that? It was a concrete building with no windows, and it's a skyscraper. How do you make a skyscraper with no windows? Well, there's a reason for that, because there's a lot of secretive stuff that goes on, but also there's servers and things like this in there that, very well could have. They are basically hubs for everything. Now, I guess another thing here is that when this went off, of course, this alert told people to get out of here. Keep that in mind, because the object was to not do any harm to any person, right? This is the exact opposite of what you see with these events. In fact, it's so strange and so weird that it almost sounds like it's something to point people in the wrong direction entirely, or it's double backed, like it was done to make people think it wasn't done, and that it was done, like so it's so obvious that you think that they're doing that to point in the other direction. It's weird. Right now, as we speak, there are events going on all around the country which are going to grab headlines, which are going to point you with faces to look at. And what I am imploring you to do is to not pay attention to half of them, because there is something so much far greater. And there's a couple things we can say. Obviously, when things like this kick off, a lot of people convene. We can't say much yet either, but there was, after this happened, there was a get-together. We'll say that. On top of this, what are the general effects of these hubs? A lot. And again, this was a much bigger event. Now it says, moment the boom detonated after RV played countdown warning blast was coming, sparking FBI probe. It says surveillance footage captured the moment that it went off on Christmas morning, injuring 3 people. It says the FBI has launched an investigation into the blast, which came after a suspicious RV started playing a recording that warned it was coming. Now, there's lots of questions about this, and I'm not here to start spear seas, okay? But what I am going to say is that this event, I guess, what are the consequences and what should we be doing? Really, even if you knew all of the stuff we know right now, where would it put you? It wouldn't put you in a different seat. It wouldn't all of a sudden open the whole world of everything up to you. You wouldn't understand it all, because not even the people involved know everything. But what they do know is there's people at the very, very top involved as far as figuring out what happened. And second, it is a complete magician trick, right? Look here. Boom. Over here. And it distracted and gave a matter of hours so something else could be done at the same exact time. That is, I guess, the best way I can put it. What we want to convey is that people need to take prep serious, especially going on into the new year, especially in the month of January, especially just now. We don't date set here. We don't tell you that something bad is going to happen on a specific day. What we are here to do is to help you prepare and to ask yourself, do I have a plan for this? Specifically, there are problems that have already arisen, right? SolarWinds was broken out. If you don't know what SolarWinds is, which is surprising, a lot of people that I know that are even into this stuff, that look into this stuff, don't know what SolarWinds is. We have covered it here, and if you haven't followed the last 2 weeks of shows, SolarWinds, Dex, can you explain SolarWinds, please? It's essentially...
Yeah, certainly. It was a system that was used by 300,000 companies across America. Every department, every one of the major Department of Defenses, military branches, just about anybody that had a network was probably using SolarWinds. It was a piece of hardware tools that you used in your network, and it ended up getting infiltrated with some form of malware that was then distributed across all of these customers that had it, which opened a big, wide door for these hackers to come in and basically get access to everyone's networks and their systems.
Now, a lot of things are going to be pointing in a certain direction. They're going to be pointing at something, and it's going to say, basically this is either the backing or the reason for it. What I want you guys to understand is that there is a lot of sleight of hand going on and a lot of purposeful things placed. So later on, what the public will find out is that there was some very good placement of certain things. So one of the things that we have is an incredible source on this. And through, I guess the best way to put this is, the one thing to pull out of this is that our country, and if you are watching from outside, I would say specifically this is more so geared towards us and those two letters. I would say that it's more geared towards here, and that we are extremely vulnerable right now. SolarWinds had access to all of these different, all of these different branches of the military, the Pentagon, all sorts of things were affected. It was a door into everything. It not only accessed, like they said in Military Times and some others, they could do more than just grab data. With those systems, they were able to control. SolarWinds, mind you, even when you look up SolarWinds, what it does, its description itself tells you what it is capable of. It says SolarWinds IT management software and remote monitoring. And if you've ever dealt with remote monitoring ever, what also is entailed is, so say if you have somebody, say like me, I'm not good with computers. I would call Dex and I would say, hey, Dex, can you fix my computer? He goes, sure, let's get on blah, blah, blah PC. And then what happens is you both sign, you both put in, okay, I'm cool with this. And then Dex can remotely go through my entire computer. It's virtually over on his screen, and he can go into my computer and figure out the problem. Is that a bad way to put it, Dex? As far as
you're doing a great job.
I'm just trying to put it into terms where somebody who is not a computer genius can understand. If I was to ask a tech guy, now we have the ability to where through the internet, it's so fast, they can access our desktop. I mean, they could even play a video game on our desktop. In fact, that's what cloud gaming has become. Basically, when you do cloud gaming, you are gaming on a server somewhere else. Like basically a desktop computer in some big building they have set up with thousands of computers, and it does all the computing for you. And the internet's so fast, there's no latency, there's no time in between. So you can play video games even on a crappy old computer, because you're not using your computer power. You're using the internet and the fast speeds to access a really powerful computer. What is going on here is that there was a little switcheroony, and this may be because SolarWinds had its heyday and now it's done. They found out that SolarWinds was going on for months, and something gigantic is going on in the background. So I guess what we need to tell you is that out of all the times where we said, we always just try to make sure responsible preparation. This is something that we should all have. We should have water and food just in case of a disaster. Say it be a Cascadia subduction zone, or say it be a tornado. If you're in Tornado Valley, you already know, right? Well, it seems like the entire country right now is in Tornado Valley. Like we all purposely chose to live in Tornado Alley, and we know what's about to come. This is where I think we are right now, because we all know that the door was opened. We all know that things were accessed, and now we're waiting for something. Now,
and Adam,
go ahead.
I might add one other thing to think about through this lens. You go back in time to the medieval times, and conflict was on horses with chains and swords, right? And then you move into our recent last 100 years, conflict was a little different on a battlefield with traditional weapons. And even when those major conflicts started, they started differently. Now today, conflict is going to be much, and I'm using conflict meaning the other word that we don't say on the show, but a world conflict, the starting of that is going to look much different than it's ever looked before. And I'm not saying that that's what this is, but when you think about how those things would start and what could be the new field of action when it comes to these conflicts, these types of things are exactly what could be the type of action we would see. Does that make sense?
Yep. And so just so you guys know, through computers, they can knock down 911, they can knock down emergency services, they can knock down hospitals, they can knock down an array of things. They can basically make a complete chaos situation where the entire country is in darkness. There is no 911. There is no emergency services. There's nobody who's going to be there to help. And think about this. One thing I want to think about is, so say if power does go off and there are, this one of the largest, say in New York, for example, they have one of the largest standing armies. The police force in New York, they have so many New York police that they are actually in the world considered, I believe, if they were an army, considered like one of the largest standing forces, right? Are they going to be staying on when the lights go off and help protect all of us? Just considering what's happened this last year, do you think they're going to go beyond their duty? And I bet you that I'm sure there will be tons. There's a lot of great police out there. But think about when it starts going into day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, are they really going to be going out of their way to protect people that basically spit on them? Was this even part of it? I mean, was this part of a big thing? Because it seems to me like we're headed towards a cliff. And those people that, normally would do that. Think about, so Able Bodied is one of our viewers. She called in and riveted 45-minute call back when I did a 5-minute call and nobody could stop listening. Started talking about her experience in Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina happened, it was M-Law. And if you don't know what M-Law, somebody will clarify that for you. It was M-Law, and basically she was in the hospital field. So she actually had to have an escort to the hospital and back, all this crazy stuff. And then there was military contractors. The one thing that last year everybody was like, yeah, we want M-Law. It's part of the plan, and nothing against the plan. But I think these people grabbed what the plan was and kind of took it into their own and said, yeah, we want this. Nobody wants it. It's a horrible thing. And if you've ever dealt with it like Able Bodied has, you would know why. Lots of things went down. Lots of corrupt things went down in Hurricane Katrina. People were on the side of the streets, perished. And I'm not talking about Louisiana parishes. Again, it was a bad scene. But as part of that, what did the police do? The police left their stations and went to save their own families, because they had mothers and grandmothers and mothers and brothers in retirement homes with no power, with no nothing. So they went to protect their own family, because when it's M-Law, it's basically everybody for themselves. And certain people, I mean, if you're doing something lawful, you can do it. It's some pretty crazy times, right? People in this world were so I kind of ingrained in this, everything's got structure. Once that structure is broken down, it turns into a completely different place. And I hope that most of the hardened minds right now understand that all of that can go away in a split second. All of it. And the one thing that I believe would be a main way to do that is power. Or even communications. When there's zero communications between any of us, and I'm talking about countrywide, internet, everything, that would be another way to do it. One thing that I believe something we can say is that we are vulnerable right now, more than ever before. Now, I don't know if this has to do with this previous... I don't know if this has absolutely something. I don't know if this is what was planned. I don't know if this is this. But what this is, just remember, the president said last year when they took out Soleimani, they said that they were planning something that made September of 2001 make it look like, chicken feed. that something massive was planned. And just letting you know that if the one thing that they do have is access to some of the craziest cyber criminals in the world, then something might be related to that. Because just mind you, you don't have to drop anything on people to take lives. You don't. You take power. They say 90% of us would perish if we lost power in the United States. And it could take anywhere from 9 months to 2 years to get it back. And the reason why is because access to drinkable water. So a number one thing that you need to have, and it is cheap or even free, depends on how, your taste, is water. I guess people are so separated from the fact that something bad could happen, and they think about this real world, a reality TV show. Movies come out on a regular basis. We go to the theater and watch. I hope that this other event that's happened during 2020 wakes you up to things can change in a heartbeat, and things will just keep going and changing and changing and changing. And not to be a pessimist, but sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. We have not had a world conflict in a long time, and obviously the tensions have been high, and now they're actually talking about cutting people's wallets out, and that's where it starts to get real. And what we are seeing right now is, I believe, we are already infiltrated from the inside out. So when you don't know what is right next door to you, you don't know who is around you, the one thing I would say is don't trust me. Don't trust anybody. I should say, be very careful everything you hear. Keep an open mind, but keep your family guarded, keep yourself guarded, and be ready for anything. And I mean anything. Because if this does happen, they were right. Doesn't matter. By then, it's too late. With the current event that's happening, obviously, we got a heads up from really great people before that. We put out 2 separate shows in a month saying this is 3 separate shows in the same 3-week period. When we got that information, we passed it on. Now we are passing on more information. If you don't know, it was at least 4 months before this big thing where we were telling you guys to buy masks, to get ready for something like this. We even told you that the WHO told you that it was going to happen. That even gave you predictions of how much money everybody was going to lose from it. And then it happened. Anybody who's been with me for 3 years or even a year or a year and a half knows that we did this. Right now, we are giving you a heads up that if things do, and things may, I hope nothing happens. But again, if it does, vindication will only be in your head, because there's not going to be communication with anybody else if something bad happens. Dex, I'm trying to play by ear here, but go ahead if you have anything to add to this.
Yeah, Adam, I think you've stressed the importance, and I think that it's clear to me, and it should be clear to everyone else, and especially with the intel that we have available to us, and hopefully we can start to get that out at some point as it makes sense and is available. But that what is happening in the visual sense and what is really happening behind the scenes are 2 totally different things, and that is often the case, but it definitely is the case here, right? And so pay attention to that. More will come, but what that means to all of us is that things are extremely serious, and we need to understand, take that for what it's worth, and think about how that's going to apply to what we do, and prepare ourselves for being self-sufficient and being able to do what we've always preached, is like make sure you've got the good supplies that you need to whether it's just the basics of food and water, things like that, right? So being prepared, right, for what may come.
And by the way, I can some people may say, whoa, good, go say it over on D Live, or go say it on this. This is stuff that I wouldn't say for the safety of my family. So again, that's why we are going to try to team up. It's just really, really freaky stuff when you realize what's sitting in front of you is like, trust me, I am not going to put anybody. I have 4 kids, and I have my wife, and I have to make sure that we look out for everybody at the same time, including the Fugel fam. So I hope you guys understand what we are trying to communicate here. Lisa K, thank you, says, did anyone else get the WikiLeaks total data release, real or scam, yesterday? Thanks for all you do, Adam and Dex. There's a lot.
It's the same one that's been out for a long time. It's getting rehashed. Everybody is reposting it.
So it's getting reposted, I believe, because a lot of people are talking about Assange and Snowden possibly getting, a pardon or something like this. I believe that's why. Dan L. Values binged watched the new Twilight Zone season 1. I think that Twilight Zone and Black Mirror and shows like that, binge watch them while you can. And then we've got Susan Donahue with many thanks and much love. # Team Humanity. You got this. Susan, thank you for all your support. Thank you guys for supporting us. At this point, I think we need more than, we need support, we need legal support. We need all sorts of support right now. There is no freedom anymore. I don't believe there is. And there's no protections anymore. I really don't believe there is. And that is a really scary fact. Thank you for new folks here. Justine Lamoya Salmon, Nidochi, Cosmic for Peace, Patrick Hall, David Bolduck. Thank you guys and welcome. I really appreciate each and every person that comes to these. This is, I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, and I'm not trying to bum anybody out, but this is at the point where we, obviously you can see things coming to a peak. Realize that we are, what is this now, 24 days out from one of the most controversial days in history. Do you think it's going to even get to there? Do you think that there are forces at battle right now? Yes. It doesn't matter what side you're on. There's forces so big, and there is so much stuff going on behind the scenes, behind closed doors, that it is absolutely mind-numbingly crazy. And I just want you guys to keep in mind, yesterday, they told people to get away from that. Does that sound like something these guys would do? And then if you leave something like a calling card there, which I believe the public probably won't find out about, if you leave a calling card that says, hey, I was here, that's kind of weird. So, again, thank you guys for all your support. Again, we need to team up. Everybody needs to team up right now. We need to seriously hunker down and make sure that we are taking every opportunity to be responsible, to prepare for the unexpected, to prepare. So I hope all you guys understand. If you guys want to help us in a different way, I would hope that you guys are looking into this. One thing that I'll be brutally honest about, I don't know if something like this, again, if there was a surge, this would help protect you. This would protect you against an EMP. This is the same way that the government, DHS, DOD, and now the DEMSO team, the official DEMSO team helping protect Texas Grid, is using. EMP Shield is huge now because of their government contracts. They are still selling to civilians, so make sure to get one. marfugelnews.com/EMP. But brutally honest, these will help versus surges. So that may be part of it, but this cyber thing is really freaky. So I don't know. I'll have to check with Andrew and see what's going on with that. Because if it does come from a different direction, that would really suck. So I hope that everybody is really paying attention to everything that is happening, and do not get distracted by 50 little things. It's crazy how many things have happened since yesterday. It's almost constant bombardment, and it has you just thinking every other which way. Don't forget what happened yesterday. Keep it on your mind every single day. Keep it in mind when you're seeing news stories. Keep it in mind in a week from now. Keep it in your mind 2 days from now. It doesn't matter. 2 years from now. Keep that in mind. Just like you should keep Cunningham in your mind. Just like you should keep certain things that have happened in the past. 201, all these things. Keep them in mind, because they're all tells. So I hope everybody's paying attention. I know you guys are. My audience is amazing, but it's harder for you to reach out to family members and tell them, hey, just try to prepare, try to grab stuff just in case something happens. If you're outside the country, you might not be as bad off as some of the places, but realize that what happens here can affect the entire planet, and it already has. So, with that being said, there will be no outro. I want to make sure this is hammered home how serious yesterday was, and that as things happen, and I want you guys to know, when we look back at this episode, I will bring this episode back up. When we look back at this, calling card left there, something grabbed, you will realize exactly what it means. All right, Dex, anything else on your mind?
Adam, no, I think the main thing here is just being prepared. Pay attention, and don't be fooled by, one hand, the shiny object that's trying to distract you.
We love you guys, and Merry Christmas and Merry everything, really. Whatever you celebrate, just keep in mind that things may not stay the same. And even if it doesn't, we can still be strong. We can still support each other. Definitely look into things like ham radios, things like this. Communications. If we did lose communications, what would you do? If we lost internet, if we lost power, what would you do? These are the questions you should ask yourself. They actually gave us a heads up. DHS told us a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, 2018 actually. They told us, hey, every American needs to prepare for 6 months to a year without food and water. If we don't have 6 months, let's work towards it. Every single day. I've been telling you guys for 3 years, just buy $5 at a time. Watch channels like Alaska Prepper. Just get payday preps. Put $5 a week or $10 a week or whatever you can spare. Go to the food bank. Most of us are doing it anyways. So keep that in mind. All right, guys. Have a great night. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out.